Hello, everyone. So, welcome to our fourth episode of the podcast series, The Growth Mindset. And I'm Arslan. And with me today, we have Shahriar Amin.
Hello.
And our topic today will be entrepreneurship. So, Shahriar is a multi hyphenate with over 20 years of experience and currently is working as business strategy consultant and specialty in brand management and content marketing. So, Shahriar, how are you doing today?
Excellent. Yeah, thank you for asking. It's a good weather today. We're here in Halifax, so all good.
Oh, great. So you're from the East Coast.
Yes, I'm on the near the water, so yeah, it's a great place. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Let's start with your career journey, Shahriar. So tell us about uh, how did you end up here, and you can go as back as you want.
Well, we don't have a lot of time, so I'll not go. I'll try to squeeze in as much as possible. Okay. As like you mentioned, my background is in marketing, right? So, but I didn't did this. This is a journey that I came across. I would say more like an accident than the deliberate planning, because what I really wanted when I was young, what I really wanted to be is because my interest was in liberal arts. Because my mom was a liberal arts major, so she was a writer, so I wanted to be a writer. So that was my plan when I was young. But when we were kids in the 90s and we're growing up and applying for higher education, it was a very different era. And what you wanted to do, not necessarily is what you end up doing, right? So yeah, so my parents influenced me in a way that like look, you need to go in business. So I said, okay, let's do that. So I chose marketing because kind of felt that within all the profession in the business world, marketing is where you can kind of become a storyteller, even within the corporate arena. So that's why I chose to be a marketer. But I started with advertising. Uh, then, uh, then I found out okay, advertising is probably a smaller piece of the puzzle. So I then moved towards communication. My first job was a communication specialist in a telecom company back in my home country at that point, Bangladesh. So I was in I was working in communication, which is but then I thought, okay, communication is the smaller part of marketing. So I need to see the bigger picture. So then I moved towards marketing. And then after a while, I went to Hong Kong as part of my job. I stayed there in Hong Kong and Macau. So I traveled all over Asia for my work. And because I was approaching my midlife at that point, so I thought, okay, I was feeling like I was doing a compromise, like I wanted to be a writer or storyteller more precisely, but I was living a corporate life. So I said, okay, why can't I have both? So that was what I wanted to do. So then I came back to my country. I started doing teaching, training, and writing all at the same time. And when I started doing that, then what happened was a lot of the startups in Bangladesh, they started approaching me. They said that they need help for their growth advisory services. So I started getting involved in that, and one thing led to another. I started my journey into entrepreneurship, which is I started advising a lot of startup company in 2016. I gave my own company into last year in Singapore, and here I am in Canada from this year actually, and I'm pretty much doing the same thing, which is I am helping small medium enterprises and startups in their entrepreneurship journey. That's what I do now.
That's amazing. So you're new to Canada, it means.
I am very new to Canada. I just arrived here in July, in end of June actually this year.
Well, welcome then.
Oh, thank
So
you. Yes,
that's good to hear about your story. You started with business and then you made a perfect blend of your passion and what you wanted
yeah,
to do with the story writer from the beginning, and then you mixed it with your expertise.
right,
And you've also founded a startup incubator,
right.
which is great. So, as the audiences, our audiences like mostly young professionals, high school students, university students. So, uh, just let's in basic terms, like what is entrepreneurship, since you mentioned it, and how has this concept of entrepreneurship evolved over the past decade or so?
Well, from my observation, like some of the things that what entrepreneurship meant stayed the same over the years, but some aspects actually evolved. So before, when we were young, when we were approaching our careers, entrepreneurship was all about freedom, all about risk taking, and all about, of course, making money, making big money. That was all what entrepreneurship was all about. But what I found as the natural evolution in the last 10 years is entrepreneurship has become a more purpose-driven exercise, which was not the case like 20 years back. Now, a lot of people, a lot of young people, they approach entrepreneurship, of course, because of the freedom and the passion, of course, it's there, but they want to pursue something that fuels their purpose. So that is why the definition of entrepreneurship has, to me, has evolved in recent times.
Great. So what skills do you think someone should have to be an entrepreneur? Is it like a specific skill set you need to prepare, or they need to have a specific mindset that they need to train themselves? Can you shed a bit of light on that, especially for those who are just in the universities?
Yeah, I was having this discussion actually with the startup incubators here in Halifax, and we were joking about it. And they were saying that there was a research that says that some people have this genetic or something in their DNA code, which is they're like always constructively dissatisfied with everything. Like they're not anyway happy with their DNA, happy with the status quo. They always feel like, okay, can this be better? Can this be better? And somehow it feels like entrepreneurs have that DNA within them.
Perfectionist.
Yeah, basically it's just taking something and say it's never settling with it. I say, can this be better? Can this be better? So to me, part of it is inherent in you. Like if you're probably an entrepreneur, if you grew up always questioning things of why this cannot be better. So which means already there is something within you that feels that you're not really satisfied with anything. The second probably would be the difficult one would be what I call is hustling. And hustling, there are different terms for it. Some people call it persistence. Some people call it showing up, patience. I call it hustling. Basically, what that means is you are you are comfortable being uncomfortable. You know what? Like you are always trying to, because every day is a challenge, and you never really know what's gonna come up, and it's okay. So you take that and you just continue to figure out solutions. You're a firefighter. The other part, which is I would say I think is not highlighted enough, is that entrepreneur is actually a relationship builder, because there's a myth that a single entrepreneur's journey of ideation to fulfillment, it never happens. It never happens. It's always a combination of partnership and collaboration relationship. So that's why building relationships is a critical element of entrepreneurship, which is never highlighted. And that is where the partnership comes, because you're more, as an individual, you're more likely having a certain set of strengths and of a certain set of weaknesses. So you need to collaborate to exploit your strength and somehow manage your weakness, because the partners will complement you on that.
I think that you raise a very important point of networking and partnership there. And you mentioned earlier about going out of your comfort zone, basically. That's where the magic happens. So any resources that you would recommend to entrepreneurs, anything available in the outside in the community, let's say, that you would like to share?
I think, yeah, resources are always localized. I'm sure they're like, if you're in Markham, you probably have a different set of resources. But what I would always say is that the more people you meet by going to networking events, by joining clubs, by joining communities, the better chances you are of having any kind of entrepreneurship journey, because it is very rarely, almost never about yourself only. So what we in startup system, we call an ecosystem. So what you need to do is you have to develop your ecosystem where you need to have a partner, a mentor, someone who can as an advisor. Then and then you have someone who can invest on you. Then you need to. So it's an ecosystem of people around you. So how will you get those? The only way you can get those is you go out there, start sharing your vision, start talking to people, and then the magic starts happening.
Perfect. And people are there to help you out always, I think. Exactly.
Right.
Great. So with this, would you like to mention any challenges that normally budding entrepreneurs face in their journey? You must have faced a lot of them yourself as well. And how did you overcome them?
I
Any
would
story would you
say,
like to share?
yeah, I mean, look, like I said, I mentioned one point in the previous question, which is strength and weaknesses, right? Or strength and, I would say, development areas. So you are never good at everything, all right? So what I would say that one of the significant challenge of entrepreneurship is that young people, because they're experimenting, they're still trying to figure out their full capability, what they want to do, what they're good at. So at that point, I would say the most important thing for them is to figure out as soon as possible what are they really good at and what is their purpose, like what do they really want to do. So when you combine these two, that what this is what I feel like doing, and this is what I'm really good at, that's a good marriage. And the moment that you combine those two things, you can actually overcome a lot of the challenges, because usually most of the challenges that come are like fear of failure. Like you are always afraid that that whatever I am thinking of is probably not going to work. It's not the right idea. I'm not the right person. But all these things you can only overcome when you have the inner conviction that I'm really good at this, and this is what I really, really want to do. And another interesting part is, if you see a typical entrepreneur's journey or a partnership, entrepreneurship, I cannot stress enough, entrepreneurship is a partnership. Now, finding that right partner is like is like as important as marriage. Like finding the life partner is probably the most important thing you can do in your life. Same goes for this. So usually an entrepreneur is someone who creates and also someone who communicates, like a creator, like who's good at building things, planning, numbers. And then there's another aspect of the job, which is another of the job, which is about marketing, revenue, going out there. So I call it creating and communicating. Now, very rarely, a person is good at both. A person is
Yes.
either a creator or he's a communicator. So that is why if you have to figure out that, are you a creator or a communicator? Because that means your ideal partner will be the opposite of you. That's a good combination. So these are the challenges. Like, how do you find the right partner? Again, you need to go out, you need to meet people, you need to share your vision, you need to persuade people. That's how it works.
You're gonna probably do a whole separate episode on how to find a right entrepreneurship partner. That's gonna be a whole new topic. But yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
mentioned about
absolutely.
marketing and out there communicating itself. And this is one of your stronghold areas as well, like brand management and content marketing, etc.
Right.
So what do you have to say about its importance? Like, tell me about specifically from your strengths perspective.
Yeah, I would say people have a lot of misconception or myths about marketing or brand per se. Like for example, a lot of people think that I don't need to do branding. I don't need to invest in brand development. Now, this is something it's important to understand. The moment your business has a name, it's a brand. You have created a brand, you have thrown it into the world. You don't have a choice in that anymore, because your name is everything. So you can
Yes.
we can take everything from you, but the Mr. Arslan Ahmed is everything that you have. If your name is everything. If your name is tainted, you are no one. So that's why brand building is so critical, that everything that you do to safeguard it, to invest in it, to create. And the other part is that brand building is perception building. That is what another people have a lot of confusion about. They think that if I make the best possible product or service, people will automatically just buy it. It never works, because people don't buy things that are great. People don't buy things that they perceive as great, which is not the same thing.
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
so, so perception is brand building. That's what brand building is all about. In fact, if you look into all our purchase decision on a daily basis, almost 99% of the purchase decisions, we can never really say why we bought it. We just said We did it because we liked it. That's perception. So that's why my advice about brand building has always been about, don't look it as a luxury and an option. You have to, as if you're an entrepreneur, you are a brand builder, which means when you go to LinkedIn and start posting your random party pics, think about it, how it will reflect on on you as a brand, right? So think it through. And like I said, content marketing, again, is another passion area of mine. I've been investing a lot of time. I wrote last year, I think I wrote a book on that, because I felt there's a lot of miscommunication or perception about content marketing. Like, for example, a good content marketing is either going to educate you or entertain you. If it does not educate or entertain, it's not good content marketing. So every piece of post or content or anything that you do, you need to filter it out. Like, is this entertaining or is it educating? So these are little things that you as an entrepreneur or a budding entrepreneur can do to use the power of brand marketing and and content marketing. Sorry.
Great. You mentioned about your book. Can you share its name for the audience?
Yeah, it's called Return. I read a couple of them. One is called Return to Abracadabra, which is basically what was about brand building. So my message was that brand building is a bit like magic, because you're creating a perception when it doesn't exist. So you're creating something out of nowhere. So it's like magic. So that's why I said how brand building can be effective in digital era. And the last one I wrote is about content marketing. So yeah, so these are two books I published in Amazon last 2-3 years. I spent a lot of time behind that, and good to see people are appreciating and letting me know that they are finding it helpful.
Great. Looking forward to reading it.
I'll share the links. Thank you. Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
Sure, I'll put it in the description as well. So any myths that you saw during your journey about this entrepreneurship that you felt, okay, that's not right, and you debunk them?
Oh yeah, there are a lot of them. I am someone who lived through both the journeys of having a professional career and entrepreneurship. So I can tell you right away that there are a lot of myths about it. Like, for example, a lot of people say that entrepreneurship is better than a regular job. I think it's a myth. It's not about being better. It's just different. It's having a regular job is gives you something different. Having entrepreneurship gives something different. It's not about better. It's about what's better fit for you. So that's one myth. The second myth that people think is entrepreneurship is mostly about making money. But as I mentioned, that a lot of entrepreneurs, they're driven by purpose. And money is a byproduct that may or may not come, but they're driven by something that fuels them, that I need to do something about this.
Passion.
Yeah. But again, passion is a dangerous word sometimes, because I'll tell you why. Sometimes some people, like, for example, a lot of startups and young people approach me that I'm really passionate about this. But be careful that if you're passionate about this, but your goal is to make money out of the passion, they're not necessarily compatible goals, right? Because if you're passionate not solving a social problem or any kind of problem, right, it's going to fulfill you, but it will never be a viable business. Like, so you need to be clear about it. Is this passion about fulfillment to you? Because that's also entrepreneurship journey. Or is this about a really great idea that can solve a problem that people are willing to pay money for, that you'll attract investors and buyers? Then it's a different path. So these are the things that the other, probably the last bit, which is, I think, is something that's very important to discuss about entrepreneurship, is about freedom. Now, entrepreneurship, of course, has a lot of benefits of freedom. Like, you are the boss of your own time, but that comes with the caveat, which is because your job ends when you leave the office. But entrepreneurs can never really shut down their computer or shut down their brain. So you are your own boss, which means you are in charge of your own life, your own schedule, your own deliverables, everything. So again, expect things to get harder, because you need to manage yourself by yourself, everything. That is something a realistic. It is freedom, but it's a different kind of freedom.
How about having customer as your boss? That also goes around a lot.
Yeah,
customer is always the boss.
It is your ultimate boss, no doubt.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Thank you. So we're gonna move towards the end of the podcast. So any advice that, any final piece of advice that you want our audience to walk away with from today's episode?
I would say something. This is something like I said, I came across later on in my life. So because like I said, this session is about young people, so I think it's a good time to talk about it. What is, a lot of times we ask ourselves, what do we want? I think that's that's a wrong question to ask. You should not ask what you want, because what you want will eventually change with your life. What probably you need to ask yourself is, what drives you, what is very valuable to you, like what is your truth. And the second part of that is not what you want, but what are you willing to give up, because every choice you make comes with the opportunity cost of giving something up. So you need to ask yourself, not because you want a lot of things, we all want a lot of things, but is what it is I'm okay to compromise and give up, because it's going to come with a lot of hard work. So answering those two questions will probably guide you towards what is your journey. So that would be my advice.
Great. Thank you so very much, Shahriar. Greatly appreciate your time and sharing your advice with the audience. So with this, we're going to end this podcast. So stay tuned for the next one. And thank you, everyone. Take care and see you next time.